Well, with the NFL season already fastly approaching, I think it's time for us to tap into some of the best teams of each conference and the worst teams of each conference. Let's rock. Please be sure to like and subscribe on this video for more all-around sports content. For now, enjoy the video. Let's talk football. All right, what's going on, everybody? My name's Antonio, and welcome back to the All Around Sports Podcast. Today, we are talking about divisions. Now, I have been doing some debating on some topics, and I've ultimately ended up this one. Today, I'm going to be ranking every AFC team from the worst to the best. So, we are going to be kicking off this series. I'll have a video out next time as I go over the NFC best teams and worst teams. So be sure to check that video out when it posts. But anyways, before we get started, if you guys do enjoy this video, please be sure to smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. For now, let's get this party started. So first up in dead last of the AFC, no surprise here, it is the New England Patriots. No surprise here because the Patriots recently traded away their best defensive player, Matthew Judon, to the Atlanta Falcons because I think Matthew Judon wanted out of the Patriots because it's the Patriots. They ain't the same old Patriots from back when Tom Brady was there. But other than this team is likely going to go 0-17 because their quarterback is still a big question mark. Jacoby Brissett, we don't know if he's going to start. And even if he does start, he doesn't have a really good offense around him. They barely have any weapons. So I just don't think that the Patriots are ready to take full on control of the AFC, and they were bad before Tom Brady, and they will be bad after Tom Brady. So Patriots start us off in dead last. Probably not a big surprise to anybody. At number 15 is the Donkeys, the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos, or the Donkeys as I like to call them, they have a new rookie quarterback to add to their ranks. But this team is just awful. They are just garbage because the only weapons they have on offense are Cortland Sutton and Javon Williams. This offense is just no good because Bo Nix, he's going against a Seattle defense week 1 that is a lot better than their unit. And the last time the Donkeys met up with the Seahawks was 2 years ago, season opener, where the Seattle Seahawks straight up punched the Broncos in the face. But other than that, I just don't see that the Broncos are going to be a really good team this year. I think they're going to tank. But that's why I have the Broncos coming in at number 15. At number 14, I see this team as a potential sleeper team, but I hate to do this to this team, but it's the Tennessee Titans because the fact is they are still not ahead of a load of teams in their division. You got the Colts in the division now to deal with. You got the Jags and the Texans. This Titans team still has a lot of growing to do. And with a 2-year man in Will Levis, I think that this is going to be a growing process. So hopefully the Titans can get back to their winning ways soon, but we'll see what happens. But the Titans come in at number 14. At number 13, I put this team on here because I just don't fully trust their quarterback room, although their defense is amazing. And I ultimately put this team in here because their offense is just straight. It has been garbage since Big Ben left. The Pittsburgh Steelers. Let me explain. The Steelers got two losing quarterbacks from the last 3 years, which is Justin Fields, who has yet to make a playoff appearance, and Russell Wilson, a washed up Super Bowl champion with the Seattle Seahawks. I just don't believe that the Steelers are going to be that good this year because although their defense is incredible, it solely depends on the health of TJ Watt. It solely depends on that because if TJ Watt goes down, as we all know, the defense changes. Which is a reason why I think they brought in Patrick Queen. But I, at the same time, Patrick Queen has not performed outside of having Roquan Smith. So we'll of course wait and see what happens. But the Steelers, their offense has been atrocious for years. Although they did make the playoffs last year due to their atrocious offense, I just don't see any way with a guy named Russell Wilson that is a bad luck curse in their locker room, especially when it comes to his ego. But other than that, I have the Steelers coming in at number 13. At number 12, I am not buying the hype around this team yet. I got the New York Jets. The Jets, although they are hyped to be a Super Bowl contender,
Huh?
for some odd reason, I don't fully trust it because it's the Jets we're talking about here. They ain't the Steelers. They ain't the Cowboys. They ain't the 49ers. They're not even the Patriots, as I mentioned earlier, that are a sorry franchise now. They're the Jets, the most irrelevant, mediocre, terrible franchise in the NFL. And I just don't fully trust this whole situation. Their defense has been amazing for the past few years. Their defense has been incredible. But their offense is still under a lot of question because Aaron Rodgers not only tore his Achilles, but he also has not had an MVP season since the year we went to his last NFC Championship game, which was in 2020 against the GOAT, Tom Brady. But I'm not buying the hype. I am putting the Jets at number 12. At number 11, I got the Chargers. Now, the Chargers. This is a very interesting situation because after multiple years of having to suffer at the grasp hold of Brandon Staley, the Chargers now might officially move off from the coaching carousel and finally gotten a really good head coach, which is after 11 years, he is back. It is Jim Harbaugh, baby. Man, I'm so hyped to see this brother back. But anyways, the Chargers, they're interesting because they lost a lot of offensive weapons, pretty much their whole offense. But they brought in some rookies, including Vlad McConkey, Brandon Rice, and along with a few other pieces. I'm not sure if this team's going to be good, but in a few years of development, this team could be a dangerous team. This team could be really dangerous, but for right now, I have them at 11 because they're still growing. And we'll see how Jim Harbaugh's culture impacts the Chargers, but that's why I have the Chargers at number 11. Number 10 is the Raiders. That's right, the Raiders. I put the Raiders ahead of the Chargers in this circumstance because the Raiders' defense has only gotten stronger. They got now Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins on the same defensive line. I mean, for real. That now there's two dangerous defensive rushers for the same team. But other than that, their offense is relatively decent. And if Gardner Minshew can be a good, decent quarterback, that's all they need him to be. Because the Raiders defense was top in scoring defense, which for the first time since 2002, which they went to the Super Bowl that year to lose to Tampa Bay. This team has the potential to be a sleeper team because you now have Brock Bowers, Michael Mayers, Devontae Adams, and Zamir White. This offense is going to be scary because even though Gardner Minshew is not the best quarterback, he's not relatively bad either because all they need him to be is decent. He has been amazing during his career, coming into situations as a backup and ultimately taking over. Now, Philly, maybe not, but last year when he was with Indianapolis, he almost led the Colts to the playoffs. Many people forget that. But that's why I have the Raiders coming in at number 10. At number 9, I see this team being a sleeper team. It is the Indianapolis Colts. The Colts, I believe this team has a chance to be a relatively decent team because they are one of the best scary teams because you now have Latia Latu and DeForest Buckner on the defensive rush. And then you also got Michael Pittman Jr., Adonai Mitchell, Jonathan Taylor, and Anthony Richardson. If Anthony Richardson can stay healthy, that would be good. But even if he gets hurt, they got Joe Flacco now, who came off the couch last year and led the Browns to the playoffs, which I'll begin to them here in a little bit. But the Colts, they are going to be a really scary team, and I see a lot of potential at the Colts, which is why I have them at number 9. At number 8 is the Cleveland Browns. Speaking of Joe Flacco's time in Cleveland, this situation in Cleveland is by far the best because although their offense has been in question for years with Deshaun Watson, their defense was number 1 in the NFL last year at home. Although their defense on the road was relatively trash, they have been relatively good. They got Myles Garrett leading the charge on their defense. You have Nick Chubb, David Njoku, Amari Cooper, and Jerry Jeudy on your offense. Now I know people are questioning the help of Deshaun Watson. Now I believe he will be a relatively good player this year. But we'll have to wait and see what happens because Deshaun Watson, anytime he is injured, it's a big question mark on when he'll return. But that's why I have the Browns coming in at number 8. At number 7 is the team that can't play in the cold, the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins, after losing 2 straight playoff appearances to the Buffalo Bills and Kansas City Chiefs, which they can't figure out a way to play in the dang gum cold. This offense has the capability to be good. If they make a wild card and are a road team, they're going to be one and done. But if they're home and they get a home game with a divisional win, then I could see them get into the divisional round. Other than that, they have to secure the AFC East, my bad. But they have an offense that is stacked, a trio of receivers that is skilled. You got OBJ, Tyreek Hill, and Jalen Waddle, along with the help of Raheem Mostert, Devon Achane, and Jalen Wright. This offense is really good, but their defense has to get stacked because they got Chop Robinson, Muhammad Kamara, and Calais Campbell. They need to stack up on defense. And if they can do that, they might be a scary team. But we'll have to wait and see what happens out of the Miami Dolphins. But we'll see. But for right now, I have the Dolphins at number 7. At number 6 is the Cincinnati Bengals. The Bengals, I believe, are a really tough team, but I have them at 6 because of a few reasons. Number 1 is because of Joe Burrow's injury. We don't know if he's going to return as the same guy. That's number 1. Number 2, I believe the Bengals are still going to be good, but they got a lot of problems because they just need to grow. They got Joe Burrow, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, and with an AFC that is fastly loading up, they need to be able to beat those tough teams. But that's why I have the Bengals at number 6. Coming in at number 5 is the Buffalo Bills. That's right, I put them that high. Now let me explain. The Bills have been really, really good throughout the majority of their years. They have been amazing, but now they have a room without Gabe Davis and Stephon Diggs, which I believe that Josh Allen will mature from what he was and mature up to be a really good player. And I believe this will be only a big step in their path to be a really good team. But we'll wait and see what happens. But the Bills are at number 5. Next up at number 4 is the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are one of the toughest teams of their division right now, other than, of course, the Houston Texans, which I'll touch on in just a second. The Jaguars are really good. They got a stacked offense with now Gabe Davis, as I mentioned earlier when I was going over the Bills. They now got Brian Thomas to add on with Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram, and Travis Etienne. And with Trevor Lawrence getting paid all that cash, they now need to make this deal worth it. So I believe they could win the division, but the Texans are going to be pretty much in their way, which I'll touch on in just a second. But the Jaguars defense added Eric Armstead from the 49ers, which I was pretty surprised on when the Niners actually released Eric Armstead and then he went to the Jacksonville Jaguars. I was pretty surprised on that. Anyways, the Jags are going to be relatively good this year, but of course, we will wait and see what happens. But the Jags I got at number 4. At number 3 is the Houston Texans, which is why I was holding off on talking about the Texans when I was talking about the Jaguars just now. But the Texans, what a surprising development. Because not only were they 3-13-1 a season ago to then become 10-7, but they ended up winning their division against the Jags after a last week antics by the help of the Tennessee Titans. And man, were the Jaguars shocked by the Texans' development. I mean, I was shocked myself as a Seahawks fan. I was shocked beyond belief. I was like, what? How in the world does a 3-13-1 team from a season ago then transform into a Super Bowl contender? I mean, this story is on. I'm speechless right now. This development is incredible. Now you got a place. Now they're actually transforming this into a place where people want to play because they added Stephon Diggs, Joe Mixon, and Daniil Hunter, also along with Danico Autry. This and also along with Cam Akers, which they added recently. This team is dangerous. And I think right there with the Bengals, they could be the kryptonite to Kansas City because they got the defense to do it. They got the offense to do it. This team looks almost unstoppable. This Texans team is going to be dangerous. And I think they are going to overtake the entire NFL by storm. And they're looking a lot better than the Cowboys right now. But anyways, that is why I have the Texans coming in at number 3. At number 2 is the AFC runner-up from last year, the Baltimore Ravens. The Ravens, they were looking like the determined team of destiny before they went on to meet the Kansas City Chiefs, which we all know how that went. But the Ravens, they loaded up in the offseason by getting out there and getting Derrick Henry from the Tennessee Titans in free agency. And they also added a few other pieces, including Devontae Walker, which I think could be a really good sleeper wide receiver for the NFL. But this team is looking dangerous. Even though their defense did lose their defensive coordinator, Mike McDonald, to the Seahawks, which I'll be touching on when I go over the NFC teams. But this Ravens team is really dangerous. And right now, I think they might be ahead of the Bengals by a smidge, but not by much because the Ravens are amazing. They are incredible. But we'll wait and see what happens. But the Ravens are at number 2. At number 1, no surprise here, the defending two-time Super Bowl champion, the Kansas City Chiefs. The Chiefs, they have been amazing, facing all the adversity that they could last year. They were dropping passes left and right, and they led the league in offensive penalty yards. And they still, somehow, nobody knows how, they ended up going all the way to win the Super Bowl. This Chiefs team is just insane. And I have respect for the Chiefs. I respect Mahomes more than I do Tom Brady. That's for dang sure. I don't have a problem with the Chiefs winning the Super Bowl too much at all. I don't have a problem with it yet. But anyways, this is going to be a really good season for the Chiefs because Patrick Mahomes added a few new pieces to his offense, including Marquise Hollywood Brown, which is doubtful for week 1, but he'll be back. Then also along with Xavier Worthy, the fastest draft prospect in the NFL, which they somehow traded up with the Bills to get Xavier Worthy, kind of like they did when a few years ago when they traded up to get Patrick Mahomes. But anyways, I had to bring that up, Buffalo fans. I had to bring it up. But anyways, the Chiefs are going to be dangerous once again. They are going to be back, and they're going to be back with a purpose. But hopefully, we don't see another more of the barrage of Taylor Swift because I have respect for every single player on the Chiefs except for Kelsey, except for him. But other than that, I see the Chiefs at number 1. Let me know in the comments what you guys think down in the comment section below. What team do you guys think is the best team of the AFC and the worst teams of the AFC? Let me know down in the comment section below. But I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please make sure to smash that like button down below. Subscribe if you haven't already. And I'll catch you all in the next one. Ciao for now.